So remember, we are going to finish up our notes today from section 3. It's the last section in the book for this chapter. And then we, tomorrow we'll do some math and take some notes. Yesterday, I asked you to watch one of those 2 videos. I think they're both like 8.5 minutes. Pick one. If you did not get a chance, please do that before tomorrow. Our notes, there's a few more slides today, so I decided we'll put that off until tomorrow. We ended up having time last period. I just decided that we would keep it for tomorrow in case somebody needs more time. So with those 2 videos, you pick one of them, and then bring, 2 or 3 things that stand out to you. Maybe that is new or that is important information for people that watch the other video so that you can share it with them. Of course, please stop. I'm in my meeting. Okay. So let's remember, and a couple people just added the class. So we're taking our notes from the PowerPoint. You can either take them in a Google Doc or you can handwrite them. But all of your notes and questions should be in one spot. And for the math tomorrow, if you're using Google Docs, you would just take a picture and add it to the bottom under tonight's homework. Okay. So here, section 3 is post-secondary job application skills and tools. So again, you don't need to write the learning objectives down. So the first objective is we're going to discuss strategies to find and apply for jobs. Based on your resumes, I'm going to say about half of you have had a job. So some of this might be review or things that you already know. And then especially for section 2, describe how to successfully apply for a job. And then the last learning objective is to discuss entrepreneurship. So how can you find job opportunities? Networking. So networking is building relationships and exchanging info with those who can improve your prospects. A lot of people get jobs through networking. There's an old saying that says it's not about what you know, but who you know. A lot of the times knowing the right people can help you get your foot in the door at a certain place. So a contact, the definition from your book, is a person you know. And then your social network is a group of friends and acquaintances who keep in contact and share information. Sure, baby. On. No. And then the second way is websites, and that's what a lot of people are using nowadays, besides your network, is just using job search websites. So Forbes has a list. Forrest, please stop. Forbes has a list of the best career websites. There's monster.com, there's Career Builder, there's plenty of other ones. You can even just do a Google search for whatever kind of job you are looking for and see what pops up that way too. Job Scouts, it's a computer program that searches the internet to find a job based on your parameters. That's pretty much what these job websites are for job searches anyways. A job scout would just search multiple websites at once based on the parameters you put in, what you are looking for. It could be the type of work, could be the location, it could be the salary. So it's just kind of another way to do this online job search, but I think those are becoming a little more outdated now that more websites are so readily available for people. A job fair is going to be very similar to like the club fair that we have at school, and the college fair. So what a job fair is, all of these potential employers, they come out and they set up their table or booth, and you would just walk around and talk to the different employers and see what ones kind of meet your needs. They have them for entry-level jobs. I know like Six Flags has come out to Benicia High before. But when you get to the college level, they're going to be more of your careers where you would take your resume and find jobs that fit more to your specific needs, where the ones that are going to be at BHS are going to be more entry-level jobs. But they have job fairs kind of for all different types. Employment agencies and headhunters. So a temp agency is an employment agency that provides part-time and full-time jobs on a temporary basis. So if you're looking for work, you could go to a temp agency. You fill out an application, and your application, it's not just a regular job application. It also says certain qualifications that you have, and they can try to match you with the job. But again, those jobs are going to be on a temporary basis. So it might be 3 months, it might be 6 months. Companies might say, you know, we have inventory, we have this holiday season, we have different things, and we know we need these people only for a short amount of time. That's going to be a temp agency. There's also state employment offices, like the unemployment office can help you get leads on jobs as well. It also said a headhunter. So what a headhunter is they are hired by a company, and that they would go out and look for people for the job. So they kind of recruit you. And so if you have your names in at some of these agencies, you might stand out to a headhunter that was looking for certain qualifications. Give people a little bit more time to finish writing here. Job shadowing is the definition: spending time observing a worker in a type of job that interests you. I highly recommend doing some sort of job shadowing if you have the opportunity. It could be, you know, maybe when you're early in your career and you don't know what you want to do, you could check out different career fields. Maybe reach out to a company you're interested in and asking if you can come check them out. If you are applying for jobs and someone offers you a position, or even before your interview, you could ask them, hey, can I come check out your workplace to see if it fits what I'm looking for as well. So companies will interview you, but at the same time, you want to interview them as well. You want to make sure you're going to fit in and be happy in that environment, especially if it is your career and not just a part-time summer job while you're still in school. Cooperative work experience. That's something like BHS normally offers the teaching career paths. We didn't get to offer it this year with COVID and being virtual, but there are different opportunities like that at different places. And then you can also find jobs through your counselors or teachers or placement centers. So basically this list is just kind of how you can find jobs, your network, websites. Those are going to be the two biggest ones. And I think job fairs can be another big one, especially when you get more into your careers. So again, this was all about finding jobs. And now once you find the job you want, how do you actually get the job? So the job application is a form that asks basic questions about the applicant's background, such as work history, education, skills, and references. We'll see an example job application on the next page, or the next slide. It is a paper application, but online applications are going to be very similar. And I think that's what most places nowadays have, online applications. So again, this is the example one from your book. They ask for your basic contact information. Have you worked here before? What's your availability? Are you available every day, just evenings, just mornings? Work history. Then down below, they ask for your education. A lot of them will also ask for references too. So next comes the resume. So we did a little bit on that last week, but we didn't get to talk too much about it. The resume is a summary of your work experience, education, skills, interests, and other qualifications, your skill set, that qualify you for a job opening. So those next three bullet points, the general resume guidelines, parts of a resume, and scannable resumes, I'm going to kind of talk about what I saw from the resumes from your class. Some of you I started giving individual feedback to, and then like I said, I saw a lot of the same things over and over again as I was reading them. So instead of typing the same thing every time, I thought we could discuss it here. And you should know if what I'm saying applies to you or not. And if you're not sure, I'd be happy to go over it with you. And remember, I do plan on us going back to those resumes maybe 1 to 4 more times this semester to kind of update it. Some of you I know have done that in a previous class. That's why we might not do it as many times. But it is important to make sure you have a good working document. A couple things that, so what I want to kind of say, what stood out to me when I was seeing the resumes, you want your most recent work experience first. So if it's your current job, that should be closer to the top. Your different sections need to stand out. Some of you, it almost seemed like you turned in your brainstorming document and not an actual resume. Some of you turned in both, but you want those sections to stand out because, again, you want it to be scannable. If somebody's looking for, you know, your skills, they want to be able to find that section right away. You also want your name to stand out. Some of you barely had your name really tiny at the top. Make sure your name does stand out so they know they can kind of match that name to the paper. With that being said, you want things to stand out, and you also want to be careful with these templates that a lot of you are using. So I saw the same templates over and over again, which makes sense. I read 60 something resumes. But if yours is the exact same as 10 other people applying and they read yours, you know, one of the last ones, it's not going to stand out as much anymore. So you want to just kind of do things, and that doesn't mean make a bunch of fancy fonts and change it so it looks all crazy, but just be careful with those templates. The templates can also be hard to format. Some of you said that the excess white space was there because you couldn't get rid of it. You can make your own resume without using one of the formats, templates. You could find different templates online. You could look at just different examples and kind of make it your own that way too. A general guideline, remember, keep it to 1 page. Some of you had it on 1 page, but then had a second page that was blank. You need to make sure you get rid of that second page. And it might be a formatting issue or something. I didn't look too much into it, but make sure your resume is only 1 page. And then if you have extra space, include references. And don't leave sections blank. Some of you put work experience there and then put none. You just wouldn't put that topic or that section of a resume. And as you build work experience, you could add that in. And then lastly, and it might be most important, is to make sure you spell check. I did see a lot of not a lot, but I saw quite a few typos. So make sure that you are spell checking or having someone proofread it for you. And that's another reason why we want to go back to these later on. So hopefully, you know, if I was talking to you about some of those things that kind of stood out from what I saw here. And like I said, if you are not sure, I'd be happy to go over your resume with you one-on-one. Just let me know. We could do it after class one time or schedule a Zoom on Fridays, whatever works best. So here's an example. So Anissa has her career objective, her education, and then her experience. So for Anissa, she's saying her education is more valuable than her experience for this position that she's applying for. You want what is the most important and makes you stand out the most to be closer to the top here. Next is a cover letter. So it's a letter that accompanies a resume introducing the applicant to a prospective employee. Not all jobs are going to require cover letters, especially, you know, like Six Flags, some of these fast food places, they probably don't want cover letters. Cover letters are going to be more essential when you're getting more into your careers and at some of these bigger companies. And your cover letter, basically, they're not very long. You kind of say why you're applying to this job. You highlight parts of your resume that you would want to stand out, kind of the most important things you would put also in your cover letter. And then you usually have a third paragraph, you know, saying, thank you for reading this. I look forward to hearing back from you. The job interview is a face-to-face meeting with a potential employer to discuss a job opening. If we were doing in-person class, we would do mock job interviews. I don't know how well they will work online, so we may or may not do them. I'm leaning towards no as of now, just because I think they're different. But then again, maybe that's what we need to do because job interviews are being done online now. And then also to get a job, it may require testing or certification requirements. Some places, like I know PG&E, you have to take their test before you could even get a job interview. You have to qualify on their test, and I know they're not the only one. Reach a certain, whatever their grading standard is, before you can be considered. Here's an example cover letter. So again, it's a formal letter here. They just say this is in response to the opening. Here, he is highlighting, as you can see from my resume, kind of what makes them stand out. And then it says, I'm available now. I look forward to hearing from you about an interview. Straight to the point. The follow-up is contact with a prospective employer after the interview, but before hiring. So that's the definition. So you may want to send a thank you note or email to anyone with whom you've interviewed, especially if you want the job. basically, you know, the next day or so, you could just follow up and say, thank you for interviewing me. I really am interested in working for your company, and I look forward to hearing from you. So that's kind of how to get the job. And then the last section here is about self-employment. So an entrepreneur is a person who takes the risks of being self-employed and owning a business. So there are pros and cons of self-employment. So your pros, you kind of get to decide exactly what you do, the type of business you're going to be in, the hours that it's open, who you're targeting for your services, the prices you would get to determine. The profits are essentially all yours. This equation here for profits. So revenues are the amount of money your company brings in. And then expenses are how much it costs you for either supplies and materials, bills, all that stuff. When you subtract those, that becomes your profit. And we'll do some examples on that tomorrow. Some of the cons of self-employment, though, especially the first year or two, can be very time-consuming. You might be a little bit overwhelmed. It also can be very expensive to get started. If you're not successful, you can lose a lot of money. As the owner, everything kind of falls on you and you are the responsible one. Some of you, I would say there's maybe 5 or 10 of you between my 2 classes that are interested, and made that very clear in your vision board that you are interested in some sort of self-employment. So getting started in business, you would need a business plan, which it kind of includes like your plan, where you're going to get funding from, what exactly you're going to do. Some resources, the SBA is the Small Business Administration. That's a good place to start. They have a website. Also, this one, Small Business Development Center. So you could just, if it's something that interests you, maybe kind of type those in and put a bookmark there, and you can go back and check them out later to see exactly what you would need to include in your business plan and how to even go about getting started, if that's something that interests you. And then, is it right for you? Are you self-motivated? Again, if you're working for yourself, you are the one that sets the deadlines. You're the one that has to make things happen. Do you like people? Are you a leader? Do you take responsibility? Do you work hard? Do you make decisions quickly and easily? Are you trustworthy? Are you persistent? And do you keep good records? So again, are you persistent and keep good records? You need to keep track of things. If someone doesn't follow up with you, are you going to follow up with them? If you're in a tough situation, can you make a decision quickly and easily? Are you a hard worker? Do you take responsibility, or do you like to blame other people if things go wrong? If it's your company, you're the responsible one. So ideally, if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, these should all be yes, that these are all good qualities. It doesn't mean you can't be an entrepreneur if you say no to some of these, but these are some things that would stand out to kind of getting started and owning your own business, because it can be a lot of hard work and very risky. So you want to make sure you are set up for success before you go down that road. So with that, that's our last slide for this chapter. Your homework, I believe, is questions 1 through 23 tonight. You can double check on Google Classroom or PowerSchool. Remember, they're due on Friday. Your mini projects are also due on Friday. And remember, you need to sign up on that spreadsheet saying when you're going to present and if you're not going to present. So I have certain amounts of time set aside next week for presentations. And based on the number of presentations each day, I might need to change that. I don't think we'll need as much time, and that's fine. We can adjust as needed. Next Friday, so not like in 2 days, but next Friday, you will have your chapter 1 tests, just kind of as a heads up. You will have some more review, and we'll go over some of these other things that will be on the test, like the math, and review some of it. I haven't decided what platform we're going to do our test on yet. Hopefully I will know by next week, by Monday, since your test is next Friday. I think that's also a couple of things people kind of, so a lot of entry-level jobs, like if you're going to apply to a local restaurant or maybe Target, Six Flags, a lot of them won't require a resume. They'll just want your job application, which your resume and job application often will have a lot of the same information. So if you had a resume, it can make it really quick to fill out your job application, especially if you have work experience, because they're going to ask for the dates, the name of your supervisor, and if you have all that right there on your resume, it'll make it a lot easier and quicker to fill in your job application. Other than that, I think that is all I have. If you have specific questions, a couple of you did in the chat, I will try to, what's it called? I will try to get back to you. I will answer those questions right now. Otherwise, you are free to go, and I will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.